Okay, so now for the labels, we assign a color, let's say cyan, right? So now how I am assigning, is it a random? Yes, right now I am assigning it randomly. But once you have a CAD standard in place, all the layers nomenclature will be given along with the color that has to be assigned. So this is not that you can do it of your own. You have to have a standard of your drawings. So once you make a template for AutoCAD, you have to assign those standards. For example, all the walls which are having, let's say, external walls, exterior walls will be red, or an interior wall will be blue, so that you can communicate better with the other stakeholders. So now, right now, once you are starting up over here, uh, for the sake of demonstration, right now we are giving a random color to it, right? So you have a foundation here, and here we goes. So then for the dimensions, let's say, so these are the various color codings that we are doing to the layers that we are going to assign, which is a very random kind of thing. Color 30, color 40, and then for beam it is, let's say, whatever, 62, you can give any color. And then plumbing fixtures, let's say you give a color, let's say 85 right now. It doesn't matter right now because we are using a random color set. 43 for the stairs, and for the 0 we are giving it as. So now let's do something. Now close it. Now we will see how it will affect the how the objects will be drawn in different colors while using different layers. So close it. Now coming to the layer drop down over here, you find that there are various layers with the colors, right? Now the one which is displayed over here is a current layer. It means that whatever layer is current, and any object, let's say I'm creating a circle, that I will create will be in that layer. So now this circle is in the 0 layer. Now let's say I select the beam, and now I create a rectangle. This rectangles or set of object will be in the beam layer, right? Similarly, let's have the column layer. So okay, so this is all the set of objects are there in the column layer, right? So now we will do an architectural project. We'll show you how basically to draft a project and give the layers. So, but for the sake of definition, I am giving you an example, which is a random example. Now for example, you have dimensions, right? So then you have, let's say, you can create more objects in this layer later on. It's just for demonstration purpose. And let's say so I'll be creating some more. Okay, beautiful, fantastic. So right, this is fine. Now let's just see. So what I have done is, when I'm selecting the layer from this drop down, I'm making it current. The other way of making current is go to the LA command, or the layer properties manager, select any of the layer, and then you have this option of making current. So you can see over here, you can hover here and you can set current, or Alt plus C. So the tick mark would be there. Now once you make it current, again you can see that it is over here. So there are many ways by which you can make it current. You can select it from the drop down, or go to the layer properties manager, select it, right click, set current. So this is also another way of doing it. Now hover the mouse. Now let's say I put my mouse over here. Now see what it shows. It is the 0 layer. It is the 0 layer, right? And this is the beam layer. So all objects are basically now placed according to its function to the layers it should be. So now come to the layer part. Now let's say let us identify this object. So this object is, let's say, the column layer. Now go to the LA and change the color of the column layer. Let's say I'll make it significantly green. Now what will happen? This object will change. All the objects in the column layer will change to green, whether it is there inside or outside, anywhere, right? Now, which is this object? This object is a door. Go to the layer and go to the door object, door layer, change the color, let's say to something called 146. Now see what happens. The color changes over here, right? Now you can see the color of this object changes as the layer is changed, right? So this is something that you want to understand at the first go. Next is that means you're controlling the color of the object from the layer properties manager. Now other property is over here is the line type. Line type means we'll talk about it. So this is basically the how the line should look, the like a dotted line or a dashed line or a something kind of this. So here we have, when once we click on this any of the layer and go to the line type, and there is a continuous line type which is given. So there are various types of line types that are there in the AutoCAD library. So here by default only one line type is visible, and the appearance, there are three columns. The line type name is continuous, the appearance is, you can see the lines, frequent line, and description is solid line. Now let's say I want to load more line types. So the moment I load it, so I use a file called AutoCAD acad.lin. This is a file that I call for different line types. One thing very important in customizing AutoCAD, once you customize it, you can create your own line types, right? So we can discuss it sometime. So let's say I want to keep a line type, let's say for ISO dash, and loaded it over here. And now I can load more than that. Let's say I can press the control key and load as many as into the dialog box. So what I'm doing is I'm loading the line type which is available in the library to the select line type dialog box. Now here I have got more options. So the moment I click on any of the line type, now these are loaded actually. Now I can assign any one of them. Let's say I assign ACAD ISO 02W100. So let's say, okay, now what happened is the dimension layer is having a color 40 and a line type of ACAD. Now let's say what happens now. So if you close it, so which object is basically in the dimension layer? So let's find out. So we will, I'll also explain you how to find out the objects in the different layers, right? Okay, so this is a column layer. So let's create something. Let's say I put it current, and let's say I create an object with the dimension. But now you will be wondering why the line type is not. So because of the scale, now you can see if I create a bigger line, the line type is visible. But if I'm creating the smaller rectangle, the line type is not visible. So there are certain commands by which I can control the scale. One is LT scale that I will discuss in this session itself, but only for the visibility of the line type. I wanted to show you that how line type and the color combination is basically, now this particular circle is now showing the line type. So let me scale it to an extent, let's say 0.1, 0.05. So this now it can be shown correct. Now how do you select a line type scale? That is a very important part, but let's come back to the point. So now over here, when we have this layer and I defined the line type as ACAD ISO 200. So this particular properties is now transferred to the objects which are in the dimension layer. Similarly, let's say for the grid layer, I give a particular line type. Let's say I give a particular line type W100. Now the color is 8 and the line type is ISO 08W100, right? So now you can see that. Okay, now you can see that the line type is, now again because of the scale, this line is not showing the line type. We will see how we can manage the scales later in this session. Now I hope you're understanding it. Now the next property is basically the thickness or the weight of the line. Line weight means the pen thickness, or line weight depicts why we use a line weight in order to show the section lines, in order to show the outer lines. So in drafting, line weight holds a very important technique of demarcating section lines, demarcating thin lines, thick lines, of demarcating objects which are far and beyond. So there are different techniques and different standards. Like the AIA standards have some particular clauses which basically guides the draftsman or the architect to define the line weight. So let's not worry about it. Now let's go to the layer again. Let's say I want to go to the beams, and here for the beam layer I want to give a line weight. Now the moment I click on the default option, I can see that there is a default option over here. So if I want to give the line weight over here, let's say 0.30 mm is the line weight. So all the objects in the beam layer will be having a 0.30 mm line weight. Now the line weight is not visible right now because the line weight command is disabled right now, because there is an option by which you can see the line weights of an object in a drawing. So there is a command called LW. So if you say that display line weight, okay, so you can see the line weight is now displayed, right? So we will talk about what is the relevance of line weight in later, but here we are talking about the layers. Now let's say for the foundation, we want to give a particular line type. Okay, fine, it is continuous, but I want to give a line weight of 0.35 or 0.25, so or 0.35, right? And now let's see how it changes the objects in the foundation layer. It's already dominant. Now friends, there is something that you want to understand, how to put the line weight off and on. So LW is a command, and then you can basically push it to a forward, like display line weight. You can click on it and the line weight would be not displayed, but it is already assigned in the screen. Okay, so here we have the line weights, color, and the line type. Now let's again summarize it. Any object that is defined in AutoCAD has basically three properties. One is the color, one is the line type, one is the line weight, right? So color defines the visual properties, like what color it would be. You have got three options over here. Like you can give a color by the ACI, the AutoCAD color index. You can give the color by the true colors or the AutoCAD color book. So you can assign colors by RGB, HSL, any other thing. So AutoCAD has a library which is an ACI, which can be used for defining the color. So normally the CAD standard use the ACI. That means the index color. You identify a color by a name number, like 19, 20, 38, right? So here we are. So coming back to it, so you have this layer manager over here, and then so now you have assigned a different color, you have assigned a line type, and you have assigned a line weight. Now three things are now discussed. We will be talking about line weight and line type in detail, let's say after the demonstration I show you regarding the layers. Then the description is there. For example, I want to describe the layer. So here I have got this one. So how do I describe? So click right. So you have got an option called change description. So I say walls of all types are defined in this layer. So this is again helping me to identify what type of objects are there, to define that particular layer, right? So this is how basically you can make your layer management more and more precise to how to manage the objects. Fine. Now let's talk about some operations, like for example the on, off, freeze, thaw, lock, unlock, plot, unplot, no, do not plot, and then about the transparency and other things, right? So then the other thing is that deleting the layer, right? So you have got, so you can now if you want to delete the dimension layer, it will say the selected layer was not deleted, because I said earlier that if any object is created in that particular layer, the layer will not be deleted. If it is a zero layer, it will not be deleted, right? At this moment of time, the dimension layer is having some objects, right? So it will not be deleted. Now another question is, can I transfer one object in one layer to the other layer? Answer is yes. How? Select that object, and then once you select that object or objects, let's say I have this 4 objects, so then from the layer drop down I can change and put them into any other layer they want to go. Select labels layer, right? So now these objects are now changed to, now if you select it, it is right now in the, it is, you know, it is now the 0 layer, right? So let's change it to a labels layer. I want to put it into the labels layer, right? Press escape. Now this is, these layers are now the labels layers. Objects are in the labels layers, right? Okay, fine. So this is what understanding that you have about. Now let's do something about the control of the objects. Now go to the layer. So I will open up the file again to show you the control, how we can control it, right? I will show you, open the architectural plan, and then I'll show you how to control it. So you have this, let's say, first thing, for example, to show the control, it is better that to understand again. So this is the particular object called in the dimension layer. Now if I want to put it off, so there is a bulb over here, put it off. Now once you put it off, there is a message that is coming, the current layer will be turned off. Now why? Because it is the current layer. If the beam would have been the current layer, let's say, or any other except what the dimension one, then if you will put it off, there will be no dialog or warning message that will be coming. So switching it off will enable you to put all the objects in that layer invisible, right? They will not be visible, but it does not mean that the object cannot be selected, right? It can be edited. So edited, selected, what does it mean? Now let's say if I want to create the dimension layer current, so there will be message that turn the current layer off. The current layer will be, what do you want to do? Keep the current layer on. No, that's fine. So I want to work on the dimension layer which is off. So now if I create something, nothing will be visible, right? But the moment you put it on, so how I put it on, either you can basically pull the drop down, you know, put it on, off, right? Go to the layer. You can do it from here also, right? So this is how basically you can put the layers on, right? So what I was saying, that if you have the current layer off, right, you can basically work on it. So you have seen, you can work on it. Or again, if you say erase all, that means I'm erasing all the objects, even the object which is in off state, the layers which is in off state, the objects will be selected and erased. Now if you put it on, you say all gone, because it was entirely you know, in the off layer. So off layer can be edited, as I said. So you can press undo, right, bring it back. So first thing that you need to understand about the off layer is when you put a layer off, it means that the visibility of the object will be affected, but you can make it current, you can work on it, but you can edit those objects, but you cannot see them, right? So sometimes, you know, if you want to put some layer off, right? So let's say coming back over here, let's say here we have, now let's say I want to put this dimension layer off. So let's understand, you know, this is the which layer it is into it, and then select it and put it off. So now you can see that the clutters are removed. Now it's very clean. I want to put this particular layer off. So get the name and, you know, just put it off. So this is what basically the visibility, but it doesn't mean you can basically make them current and work into it, right? Now in the layer properties, now you go to the all properties, because I'll tell you about, because the filter was there. Now you can see that this dimension is off, so you can basically make it current and then work on it, but it will not be visible. The other way of making a layer off is, there is a command called lay off, right? So this is lay off is not good to hear, but so the layers that is you know, off can be put on by clicking on individual layers and putting them on. Let's say I want to put them on once again, right? But if there are many layers which are off, but it will be, again, the best way of doing it is write a command called lay on. The best way of doing it is to write a command lay on. What will happen? All the layers which are put off will be now displayed, right? So lay on is basically making the visibility of all the layers which are put off, again to on state. Now all the objects are visible. Now let's say if you want to put a particular object, you know that this is dimension. Now you want to make all the dimension off, but you don't want to go to the layer properties, right? So there is a command called lay off. So the moment you say lay off, so what will happen? Select the object, the layer will be off. So this is the particular object, and then AutoCAD will find out the layer in which it is and put all the objects in the layer off, and also the layer will be off. So I am using the command called layoff. Now, okay. Now again, now you can see the clutter is off. Now if you want to bring them back, you say okay, layon, lay on, all is back. So this is one shortcut to tips and tricks in AutoCAD by which you can do. Similarly, coming back to this example subject, so if you say lay off and selected this object, you can see that so it says the dimension is current. Do you turn it off? I will say yes, so it is off. So because it was a current layer, this message come. Now these objects are getting off. Now you want to turn it on, say layon, all the layer which is displayed off is now on. Okay, now coming back to the locked option. Now lock option is something that it prevents you from editing, but it does not prevent you from working. It does not prevent you from visibility, but it only prevents you from editing. Now let's come to the how it is preventing it. Go to the layer and let's say take the towards layer as locked layer, right? So this is a lock unlock, right? So clicking it over here. Now if you look into it, just hover your mouse over here. Now see which object is in the door layers. So you can find that over here one object is dimmed over here. So that means this is in the locked state. So if you want to do a move, if you want to select, this object will not be selected because it is in the locked layer. Now if you want to erase, this object will not be erased because this is in the locked layer. So you cannot do any modification. Can I work on it? I say yes. So you can make it current. For example, I can make the door layer current. I can create a circle, but now it cannot be edited. So the relevance of a locked layer is objects in the layer has to be prevented from further modifications. Those objects, those layers are basically locked. So take an example from the architectural plan over here. Now I want to make the text layer off. So I want to make this the layer which is to arc plan room 1 layer as locked. So I go to the LA command, and there are so many layers over here, right? So you have to find it out, that particular which object we are referring to. So it was we can find the layers, the search for layers. There's an option over here. Okay, now here you will now learn something how to search a layer. Now here we have an object called arc plan room 1, right? So now in the here if you write let's say room 1, okay, or you just need to write room, or you can arc, whatever you write. So now it is not a case sensitive kind of thing, so you have to write the full name anyway. So you can find it from here also. Let's say I have this so I go to the all, there's a filter, because the filter is basically not allowing me to select this object. So I can have let me put the grids on. So is the grids visible right now? Yes, the grids are visible. Now let's say I want to put this object which is the grid layer, I want to lock them. So I go to the A command, and let's say I go here, and here in the grids I put them lock. So what will happen is this object will not be edited. right? Similarly, let's say this is a dimension. So this is arc plan dimension. I want to put them lock. So find out the arc plan dimension. So here this is the arrow by which you can make it ascending and descending order, so by the text. So you can use this sort order option. Okay, so you have this dimension over here. So let's go up, so you can find the all the objects, all used layers over here, right? So because of the filter, sometimes the objects are not visible where, so you have this dimension over here. So this is arc plan dimension. It is now frozen. Put it lock, so you can see that the dimensions are lock. So okay, so this is the locking option. The next part is about the freeze and thaw. So now here you can see, coming back to the illustration, the doors is locked and unlocked. So I put it unlocked, and coming back to the layer properties manager over here I go. So here the moment you see that there is a freeze option, the freeze means that you basically turn the visibility off. You cannot see it, you cannot edit it, you cannot modify it, or everything is frozen, or you cannot make it current to work. So once it is frozen, the frozen is basically, this is the icon of frozen. So objects in the frozen layer are not visible, they are moved into a particular trash, so you cannot see these objects. Now if you erase it, so, and then the opposite of freeze is thaw. So if you thaw it, so you can see that objects are, then all the objects are gone except those who are frozen. Now the difference between freeze and lock is, and putting it off, is in the frozen, the objects are prevented from editing, objects are prevented from visibility, and also the objects are prevented from working, right? For example, if a layer is frozen, for example, if I freeze the dimension layer, right, so the objects of this layer is not visible. Also, I cannot make it current, I cannot work it in it because it is a frozen layer. But if it is an off layer, I could have worked. If it is a locked layer, I could have worked, I could have made it current. But a frozen layer cannot be made current, cannot be edited, and neither it is visible. So this is the freeze and thaw. So here also if you come over here, so you can go, you can see some of the layers are frozen over here, right? So for example, if you look into it here, some of the layers like the plan mirror, the locker, the fridge, existing building is on, right? If you put the freeze on, so some of the, there are so many objects, but it was not visible because of the layer settings and other thing. So it was very much managed once we had opened it previously, right? So this is the condition where a layer is given a color, layer is given a particular freeze, unfreeze state, and on and off, right? The next that we will go to the next part of the column is plotting. So if I have this beam layers do not plot, means when I take a print, for example, the object in the beam layer is, let's say this is the label layer, and this is, let's make it current and create some object, let's say. Now if I take a print by Control P, now if you plot it, let's say this particular object, so it will not be visible in the plot. Let's say I am taking all the objects over here in the plot. The objects which are having do not plot setting will not be printed. So means that you can also control from the layer that which object would be plotted and which object will not be plotted, right? So here we are done with the basic working of how to create a layer, how to give properties to a layer, how to give a line weight, line type to a layer. In the next we'll be talking about more advanced versions of filters, how to create layer filters, more talk about the line type, line weight, and and the properties of the, and how to set the line type scale, how to create a layer filter. So we will be just discussing next, right?